Chapter 6, The Road to the Future Will Be Interesting. The aperture was mysterious and unusual. Although it was located inside Fang Yuan's body, it was at the same time, not sharing the same space with his internal organs. You could say that it was endlessly huge, yet at the same time infinitely small. Some call it the Purple Prefecture, some call it the Chinese Pool. However, many know it as the Primeval Sea Aperture. The entire body is spherical and the surface of it is covered in flowing white light, like a thin layer of light coating. It was the layer of light from the Hope Gu that previously exploded. This thin membrane of light supported the aperture so it would not collapse, and inside the aperture was naturally, the primeval sea. The sea waters were smooth like a mirror, showing a greenish-blue color, yet the water was dense and brought about a copper luster. Only rank 1 Gu masters can form this green coppery primeval essence, known as the green copper sea. The height of the sea surface was not up to half of the aperture, it was only up to 44%. This was also the limitation of a sea-grade talent. Every drop of seawater was pure primeval essence, representing the condensation of Fang Yuan's essence, vitality and soul. It was also the accumulation of his life potential over the past 15 years. This primeval essence is used by Gu masters to raise Gu. This also means that from now onwards, Fang Yuan has formally entered the route of a rank 1 Gu master. Since the aperture had opened, no more Hope Gu entered Fang Yuan's body. Fang Yuan gathered himself and felt that the pressure before him was as thick as a wall. He could no longer walk another step forward. Just like my previous life, he smiled indifferently at this result. You can't go any further. The academy elder shouted across the river, holding on to a small thread of hope. Fang Yuan turned around and walked back, answering with his actions. At this moment even the young teenagers started reacting. The crowd suddenly buzzed with chatter. What? Fang Yuan walked 27 steps. So he was just a C-grade talent. Unbelievable, only a C-grade for such a genius like him. A great disturbance erupted from the crowd. Big brother. Among them, Liu Fangzheng looked up, watching with shock as Fang Yuan returned across the river. He could not dare to believe it, his own brother was only a C-grade. He had always thought that his older brother would be an A-grade talent. No, not just him, even his aunt and uncle and so many people among the clan thought the same too. But now, the result was unexpectedly the opposite. Damn, he was only a C-grade. The Guyu clan head clenched both his fists, drawing a deep breath, disappointment in his voice. The elders watching from the darkness had mixed reactions. Some were frowning, some lowering their head in discussion, some looking up with a sigh. Could the results be wrong? How can that be? This method is accurate beyond reasoning, not to add that we were watching the entire time, even cheating is hard. But all his actions and intelligence previously, how do you explain those? Youths with higher quality of primeval sea would indeed display characteristics that surpass the ordinary man. Such as intelligence, perception, memory, strength, agility and so on. On the other hand, these characteristics do not mean that the primeval talent is definitely high. Everything will still be determined by the results. Sigh, the bigger your hopes the bigger the disappointment. The Guyu clan's generation now is no longer like the first generation. His socks were soaked with the icy cold waters from the river, the coldness piercing into his bones. Fang Yuan walked with the same emotionless face, his distance getting closer and closer towards the crowd. He could clearly see the academy elder's heavy expression, and was aware of the stares thrown at him from over 100 youths. These glares were mixed with amazement, shock, sneering, and some taking pleasure at this unfortunate event, some indifferent. It was the same situation, making Fang Yuan unwillingly remember his previous life. During that time he felt as if the sky had fallen. When he crossed the cold river he lost his footing and fell, soaking his entire body in the water, feeling so lost. No one came forward to help him up. Those disappointed, cold expressions and gazes were like sharp knives, piercing into his very own heart. His mind was in chaos, his chest searing with pain. It was as if he had fallen from the clouds, down to the ground. The higher you stand, the harder you fall. But in this life, as the same scene replayed itself, Fang Yuan's heart was calm. He thought of the legend, when predicaments come, give your heart to hope. And today that hope is inside of him. Even though it was not big, but it was better than those people who had totally no primeval talent. If others feel disappointed, then let them be disappointed. What else can they do? What does other people's disappointments have to do with me? The most important thing is to carry hope inside my heart. 500 years of living had led him to understand that the interesting things that happen in a person's life, happens during the process when one chases after his own dreams. There is no need to ask others around you to not be disappointed or make them like it. Walk on your own path, let others be disappointed and unhappy however they please. Sigh. The academy elder let out a deep breath and shouted, "Next, Guyu Fangzheng." But no answer came. Guyu Fangzheng. The elder yelled again, the sound of his voice reverberating inside the cave. Ah! I'm here, I'm here. Fangzheng snapped out of his shock and ran out hurriedly. Unfortunately he tripped over his own foot and fell, hitting his head with a groan and tumbled into the river. Instantly the entire cave was filled with huge laughter. The Fang brothers, nothing special. The Guyu clan head scoffed, feeling a sort of annoyed boredom towards Fangzheng. This is such a huge embarrassment. Fangzheng struggled and splashed in the water. The bottom of the river was just too slippery, he couldn't get up properly. Trying his best only made him look more stupid and clumsy. His heart increasingly flustered as the sounds of laughter filled his ears. But right at this moment, he suddenly felt a strong pull lifting him up. His head finally left the water surface and his body found balance again. He wiped his face in a panic and focused his sight. It was actually his older brother Fang Yuan who had grasped his collar and pulled him up. "Big brother." He opened his mouth to say. But instead he started choking on water, ending up triggering a violent cough. The difficult older and younger brother of the Fang family. Someone laughed at the riverbank. The laughter grew louder, yet the academy elder did not come out and stop it. He was deeply frowning, disappointment filling his heart. Fangzheng was completely at a loss on what to do, and then he heard his brother say to him, "Go on. The road to the future will be interesting." Fangzheng could not help but open his mouth in surprise. Fang Yuan's back was facing the crowd so they could not see properly, but Fangzheng could clearly feel the calmness radiating from Fang Yuan. As his older brother spoke, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, revealing a deep and thoughtful smile. It was obviously only a C-grade talent, yet how can Big Brother be so calm? Fangzheng could not help but wonder, his heart full of doubt. Yet Fang Yuan did not say any more. He patted Fangzheng on the back, and turned and walked away. Fangzheng wore a stupefied expression as he walked towards the flower sea. I never thought Big Brother would actually be so calm. If it was me, I'd. He lowered his head, walking forward absent-mindedly. Yet he did not know that he was playing out a miraculous scene. When he finally snapped out of his reverie, he was already deep in the sea of flowers, standing in a distance that no one else had reached before him. 43 steps. Oh my God, a grade talent. The academy elder screamed, seeming to have lost his mind. A grade, really an A grade? It's been 3 years, an A-grade talented genius has finally appeared in the Guyu clan. The clan elders that were watching in the darkness were also screaming out at the same time, losing their composures. Well, the Fong bloodline originated from us Qi bloodline. So we Qi family will adopt in this Gu Yu Fongzheng, Gu Yu Qi Lian immediately announced. How is that possible? You old bag Qi Lian, your morals and abilities are out of order, but you're definitely good at misleading young boys. It's better to pass this kid to Gu Mo Chen to raise. Gu Mo Chen roared back instantly. Stop arguing. No one is more qualified to raise this child than the current clan leader. Whoever has any objections is to go against me, Guyu Bo. The Guyu clan head had gone crazy and swept his fiery red gaze over the disappointed and discouraged looks.